Spirit, I don't know if you can hear me, but I just wanted to introduce myself if I could. My name is Butch Honeywell. I was the foreman of the jury at your trial there, and well, I found you guilty, Mr. Iscariot. I'm real sorry about that. Oh, I brought you a 12-pack of Coke. Guess it's a 5-pack now, but I don't know if you drink, but it's the good stuff. Okay, then. So, I think I'm dead, Mr. Iscariot. And I'm a little concerned about that because I'm not sure my soul is ready for judgment, but no one has so far corroborated that I'm dead, so I just don't bring it up. But the fact is, if this is a dream, it's the longest dream I've ever endured. And I just really miss my wife, Mr. Iscariot. Is it okay if I tell you that? I remember, I was with these two girls that night when I first met my wife, Mr. Iscariot. It was a party at Jimmy Rayburn's house, because Jimmy's mom worked till midnight, so he had the whole house to himself. So, you know, me and these two girls, Susie Heller and Delamay Robbins, we were just talking, smoking cigarettes out on Mrs. Rayburn's deck away from the rest of the party. I was depressed over something or other, probably because school was ending. Plus, I had just been in the school play. I had played Tom in the Glass Menagerie. It was my first time really acting, and everyone said I was real good, but now the play was over, and school was almost over. For my part in the play, I don't know if you can tell, Mr. Iscariot, but my ears stick out a little bit, so they gave me this like 1940s style haircut, like real short, so I was feeling a bit self-conscious and dumb and just not too cheery. So, anyways, I was out on the deck talking, and all of a sudden, I see this girl inside of the party. I guess she had just arrived because she had on a red jacket. It was a cheerleading jacket from the high school, just across the Virginia state line, the Red Raiders. And I remember all I saw was this blonde hair and this red jacket, and this smile that was, even from a distance, just kind of electrifying to the heart, you know? About a minute later, the sliding door to the deck opens, and this girl, she's heading towards us, all by herself. Turns out she's friends with Della from something back in the day, I don't know. Girl Scouts, brownies, something like that. But I remember, she just looked so beautiful that I remember thinking to myself, and this is word for word what I thought, I ain't even gonna bother talking to this girl. So she comes up and she says hello, and I excuse myself right off the deck and back inside, fixing to say my goodbyes and skedaddle. But then Jimmy handed me a drink, and someone started passing around a bottle of Rebel Yell and bong hits and whatnot, and a while later I'm sitting on the couch when this girl, my future wife, she comes up to me and she says, I saw you in the play the other night. You made me cry. 2 days later, we went out on a date. When I was driving her home, we passed by the house of my friend Dave Hogg, who had died. I hadn't been by the house since he passed, and the family didn't live there no more, but I got struck with this feeling, and I asked her if it would be all right if we just stopped and sat for a moment, and she said sure. So I parked, and we just sat, quiet, not saying nothing. And then I started to tear up, because Mr. Iscariot, this guy had been a real good friend of mine, you know? And then I just started crying, and I couldn't help myself, and I couldn't turn it off, and I was real embarrassed, and she just held me while tears and snot and whatnot just poured out of me under her little white sweater. And she didn't mind about that. She didn't mind at all. Eventually, I drove her home. We got to her door and we started to kiss. And, well, God, well, I'll tell you, it was like peaches and dynamite. And then I apologized about the crying and all, and she said, "Don't be an idiot, Butch Honeywell." And I smiled, but went on to explain my meaning, which was, if you want a girl to think you're sensitive or something, then taking her by the house with your dead friend and crying all over a pretty white sweater might be a good way to pull it off. And you know what she said, Mr. Iscariot? She looked at me for a good long while with them all the way dazzling eyes of hers. And she said, "Well, if it was a trick, then I'm tricked." 3 years into our marriage, I got a job teaching at the State University. I was real popular with the students because I found a way to make them want to learn. One night at the end of the semester, some of the students took me out for drinks. I ended up having an assignation with one of the poets, a young girl named Lucy. And I went home, and I got in bed next to my wife, and before I passed out, I remember I was just looking at her. I always liked to look at her while she slept because she always looked so good. I used to have a little nickname for her. I used to call her my little baby dinosaur. Because, well, that's how she looked like when she slept, like a cute little baby brontosaurus or something. Yeah, cute. But I woke up the next morning, and what I had done the night before started to come back to me, and she was still asleep, and boy, she looked exactly the same as always, except she just wasn't my little baby dinosaur no more, you know? And she got up, and she didn't know nothing about nothing, and everything was exactly the same as if the night before it never happened, except it had happened. I didn't know why I had done what I'd done, but I had done it, and it couldn't be changed. My girl, she got up and fixed me blueberry French toast, maple walnut pecans. I didn't eat it. No way I could have eaten it. Nothing was ever the same after that morning, Mr. Iscariot, you know? I tried a lot of things to ease the pain. The only things that did were more beer and more women. Do you know who W.H. Auden was, Mr. Iscariot? W.H. Auden was a poet who once said, "God may reduce you on Judgment Day to tears of shame, reciting by heart the poems you would have written had your life been good." She was my poem, Mr. Iscariot. Her and the kids, but mostly her. You cashed in silver, Mr. Iscariot, for me. Me, I threw away gold. That's a fact. That's a natural fact.